I'm Larry Souder, and welcome to Souder Friends. Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough because someone said so? Award-winning television sportscaster Rudy Kalis knows how that feels. Listen to his powerful story told to me in front of a live audience.
One of my favorite Proverbs in the Bible is 16:9. It says, "In his heart a man plans his way, but it's the Lord who directs his steps." And I think everybody in this room would feel, okay, you can go through your life and you wonder how in the world you got here tonight and how you survived and made it and all of that stuff. So, and then I also talk often that we're a product of how we grow up and the things that are a part of us. So that became my DNA. My father was my parents are both from Russia, from the Ukraine. My father was in the Russian army at World War II. My mother was a school teacher. My father was captured by the German army. My mother, part of the refugees that were drawn back after the Germans retreated out of the Ukraine, and they met each other in Germany, and that's where I was born, my sister and I. Then in 1952, my parents made the decision, and I think about it, now how do you make that kind of a choice and say, I'm going to lock the door on the home that we have, and we came to the United States. And I still have it at home. I have a wood trunk. This is the only thing we were allowed to bring for a family of four. Mom, Dad, sister, and I. We went to Bremerhaven, which was a port out of Germany. But on June 10th, 1952, we cruised into New York Harbor. And we got train tickets that eventually got us to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My daughters found a report card of mine a few years ago, and I was going from the 8th grade into the 9th grade. The highest grade I had was a C-. Everything else was a D, an F, or an incomplete. But my parents used to, without knowing it, would say things to me, "What is wrong with you? Are you stupid? You will never amount to anything. You have to stay." I must be stupid.
That made you feel good, didn't it?
Yeah. High school was interesting for me, and I played for a coach. I was captain of the basketball team, and I never, ever remember him saying to me, "You did a good job." It was always, I either did exactly what he expected me to do, or he would wear me out as part of that 60s mentality, And so add that to what my parents say, and I realized this. When I was about 60, I began to think about it. You're in those ages, and some of us, not all of us, can remember that. Those things that were said in those high school years. Coaches, I fly in a helicopter on Friday nights to high school football games. Man, I listen to the coaches, I listen to the players. Say, you got no guts, get in this game. And you get this kind of language, and that stuff, the things that were said to us stay inside.
That sticks with you, doesn't it?
Forever. And then the other side of it is, which I didn't get, is that some of you may in this room understand because somebody said to you, "You're magnificent. My goodness, your mathematics is remarkable. Your music is just wonderful. Someday you're going to be great." And then I was 60 years old when I began to think and realize that there are not all of us, there's enough of us in this room who have and will spend our whole lives either trying to prove somebody right or prove somebody wrong. We'd like to stand in front of our dad's grave and say, "Dad, you didn't believe in me. You didn't think I'd be man enough." For ladies with your mother, and you can't, they're gone. But those things become a part of your DNA. People have asked me, "How did you get into broadcasting?" Because, I was this little wimpy kind of kid. I knew I'd be good enough to be a professional athlete, but if I could be around them. So I went to the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I went to school all year round. I finished 4 years of college in 3 years. And I found out I wasn't as dumb as I thought I was. But I had a desire. I had a desire at that point. The Lord leads you through these things. I think I was trying to, prove somebody wrong at that point. And so I'm looking for work. And I went up to Green Bay. I'm from Milwaukee. I went up to Green. The news director called me. Not even to be he had a position opening for an assistant producer who maybe could do a little sports on the side. And then the opportunity. The sports director one day got mad at everybody, cussed them all out and quit. And I said, let me fill in. Well, they got nobody else. So all right, you can be a candidate. Hot dog, there's my chance. I did it 7 days a week for a whole month. And they called me in, and two guys with suits sitting there in front of me, and I said, "Rudy, have you ever thought about getting into sales?" I don't think broadcasting is right for you.
Really?
For me, it was right back to mom and dad. It was right back to that coach. I'm not good enough. So then you got to find out, am I going to stick this out, or am I going to just quit, or what am I going to do? And I sent out resumes, and one of them was to Nashville. I'd never been down here, but I knew WSM was a good station. I sent a tape, and they hired me. Man plans his way, the Lord directs his steps. Put that into the mix of it, everything that's happened to us in our lives. Again, think of your life. Everybody's got a story, how they got to where they are, all of you in that regards. They hired me over the phone. I landed down here, drove down here. I'd never been down south. I thought y'all didn't wear shoes. I said, I'm going to stay in this one-horse town for a year or two, and I'm out of here. And 41 years later, there's a difference between your job and your purpose in life. Your job puts you into place. Your purpose in life is meant by God so that you can be used to make a difference in other people's lives, to be his messenger. And that's what I began to realize. Spend some time and ask somebody yourself, are you still trying to prove somebody right or wrong? There are people maybe that you don't even want to talk to. Maybe somebody hurt you when you were younger. God used all those people to get you in line so that you have a story and can touch someone with an understanding that nobody else can have. The biggest thing in my life has always been my ego, my pride. What does it say in Proverbs 6 or 7? 6 things the Lord hates. No, 7. Number 1 is a proud look. Number 3 is murder in the list. So the pride of trying to be somebody, and it ate me up. A lot of us in this room know at some point in our lives we all came up against something that we couldn't do anything about. Maybe it was a phone call you got in the middle of the night. I'm so sorry to inform you. There's been a terrible car accident. Your child was in it. Or the doctor said, I'm sorry, it's terminal cancer. It's something. Or you've lost everything you've saved. I remember one day driving on the road, and I'm hitting the steering wheel of my car, and I'm going, God, help me. I am sick and tired of screwing up, being phony. Everything I do seems to be wrong. I get going down the road. You see, when I was 18 years old, I walked out of church. Because I was making my own decisions and stuff. Now I'm 31 years old, and I'm saying, God, help me. And the story for me is, but 3 days later, I used to play basketball at the Green Hills Y at noon. And then I'd go across the street to a place called Joe's Village Inn and have a hamburger, sit in there. And I went in there, and I'm sitting there in the room, as I can recall, people, lunch crowd and everything. There was one black man sitting in the back of the room who comes up and walks up, and he sits in front of me. And he doesn't know me from Adam. He's not even from Nashville. He says, are you all right? You look like something's bothering you. No, I don't even know what I'm giving for bodying me. No, and we talked for 2 hours, telling him about my life, and he's telling me about a God who loved me. And he called me the next day. I gave my number. Let's do lunch. He called me the next day. Let's do lunch. And the third day was October 10th, 1978. Sitting at a window, he said, would you like to pray and let Jesus Christ be the Lord of your life? And I said, I sure would. And he said, hold my hand. I said, wait a minute, brother. We're sitting at a window seat here. I don't... He said, hold my hand. I said, yes, sir, boy. I go one eye open. And he whipped the prayer on me, and I walked out of there. And I didn't have a halo around my head, but I walked out of there. God did 2 things. One, he changed my mouth. Not that I swore all the time, but when you're around athletics, sometimes to punctuate, couldn't do it anymore. I had something to do with saying. Secondly, I got this incredible thirst to know something about the God I'd just given my life to. And there it was. And it began. And I went into a Bible study group, and I know you have them. And I had a mentor who led it, who was about 80 years old. Every question I had, he said, find it in the Bible. Memorize it. And I would make note cards. And Proverbs, my Bible falls open to Proverbs, 31 chapters with verses in there that just I live my life by. And I began to realize that the spirit with which I live my life and the way I do my work affects other people.
I'm Larry Souder, and that's Souder and Friends.